MMA Digest here with Uriah Hall. So Uriah, UFC is trying to legalize MMA in New York. Is it one of your dreams and goals to fight in New York?
Absolutely, and I think just as any other athlete out there that good at their sport, like football or boxing or whatever, it's always going to be a great feeling to play in your hometown. As far as what these guys were saying earlier about traveling, all those expenses, makes a lot of difference because in your hometown, we have to go outside the state and all that stuff, and sometimes your family members can't even make it because of that issue, or even fans. So yeah, it's like a dream come true to actually have it in the backyard.
Are you optimistic that it will go through and MMA will be legal here in sometime soon?
Absolutely. I'm looking at, I saw the chart the other day and it was like every state except for Connecticut and New York.
Yeah.
And it's like, it doesn't make any sense. And at the same time, amateur MMA is already legal here. So it's like, what's really going on? And I wasn't really educated on this, as much, because I don't really know anything about politics. But after hanging out with these guys and being a part of the group, it kind of broadened my understanding a lot. And the biggest thing I noticed is that a lot of people's not even educated on MMA. Certain a lot of people and the politician because they're looking at the amateur side as okay, but they don't see the personal side that we too worked our ass off to get there, and we want the same respect.
Right. And what have you been up to since your last fight?
Honestly, chilling.
Yeah.
I've just been hanging out. I'm in the midst of actually looking for new camp and new management.
Okay.
And in the midst of that too, Lorenzo called me the other day and he said, I'd love for you to fight with me and help me talk about MMA a little bit. And I was like, sure, I'd be glad to do it. So I jumped on the opportunity.
Are you leaning towards one camp or another? Is there a certain team that you would like to train with that you prefer?
Not exactly. I mean, I'm still looking. It's like I'm shopping. The biggest thing I'm looking at is being comfortable. You want to feel at home. And even if it's brand new, it still takes a lot to get used to, coming from, where I was before. But it's a part of the sport. It's a part of growing. So I feel like I'm growing, and to grow, and I feel like I'm evolving, I need to step up my game.
What was the biggest lesson learned from your last fight?
I wouldn't say lesson, but it was a little bit hard. I know a lot of people have their own opinions about it. Some say I threw the fight. Some say I had too much hype. Some say I had ego. Some say, I don't even know what the hell. But personally, I know myself. I know my friends knew who I am, and going in there was just a little weird because me and Kelvin were close. We were cool.
Yeah.
We were best friends, but we trained and we got really close. And beating someone else on the team was fine to separate those emotions. So going out there was like, what the hell? And I remember feeling weird. But hats off to the kid. He did his job. I think he had that mental game plan down pat because for him there was no hype, so he had really nothing to lose. And he went out there and he did what he had to do.
Right. And Dana said he told you after you need to get meaner. Do you agree with that assessment?
Well, people are always going to have their own opinion of you. And, for me, I don't know if I can say it on camera, I don't give a shit. Because I know who I am. And it's not about recollecting myself. For me personally, even if I lost in the finale, I don't feel that bad about it. Yeah, losing sucks, but I look at more what I've gained as an individual, as an athlete, as a fighter, and to me that's worth much, much more. Yeah, it would have been an extra cherry on top to win the finale, but sometimes even losing, you learn a lot. You actually learn who your friends are, and I'm kind of glad it happened because, I actually learned who my friends are, and people have been supportive because when I started, certainly not there, which I don't really care, but it makes you see people are not really there for you. Those are called your constituents.
Right.
I know my confidants are.
So some people jumped off when you had that loss, sort of thing. They jumped off.
Exactly. Even people that I even thought were close to me, and so I guess you do kind of learn. You learn from it, and the important thing, especially in this sport, is to have fun. And someone once told me, once it becomes more of a business than the fun, you should leave. And I think, a big part of my performance back when is I was focusing much more on the winning part instead of having the fun. And I'm having fun.
Chael Sonnen, your coach, what was he like as a coach, and what were some of the big things you learned from him?
Chael Sonnen, personally, as a coach and as a friend, he's just the best word I can use is great. Off camera we spoke, and as an athlete, he kind of put himself in my shoes, and we spoke about what it is to go out there and perform. And I would always think about the outcome, and he basically told me I have no control of that. To focus more on the performance, and when you focus more on the performance, and and you're not worried about the outcome, then it's easier to engage. And that's the biggest thing I learned, because I always put pressure on myself. I think a lot of athletes put pressure on myself, but it's a learning sport, and I'm learning, I'm building. I didn't set out to say, all right, I'm going to take on awareness and say, well, like everyone's praising me up to.
Right.
So that's why it doesn't really bother me, because I had my own expectation.
Yeah.
I don't feel like it's necessary to live up to anybody's. And people are always going to have their opinion. And you're always going to have people hating you and love you, but it's a part of the world. So the important thing to do is just focus on what's important.
Do you feel like a weight has been lifted off your shoulders because people had so much hype and expectations of you?
I think a weight was lifted off, yeah, because it did two things. I think it did something great for the UFC. It brought out an underdog, and it pretty much brought him from here to here, and it brought me from here to here. So it made us even. And, at the end of the day, it's about the competition. That's how I look at it. Winning is great. It is. It feels good, but for me personally, it's more about the competition.
And Jon Jones, did you get to interact with him, and what was he like on the show?
I got to hang out with Jones. He's a cool guy. He's a really mellow, really nice guy. I remember asking him a personal question one day. I'm like, man, what do you do to let it go in the ring like that? And he said, you know what, man, I'm actually blessed to do this. Just the fact that I'm blessed to do this, is a big thing I could focus on. I'm like, wow. So I think for me personally, I didn't accept the fact that I'm doing this, So he's a really great, gentle guy. I don't think we had any drama on the show because of that. Maybe some small little drama, but hey, if you live in a house people you got to beat up, it would suck.
And finally, what's next for you? What can we expect for you in upcoming months, fight-wise or whatever, anything like that?
I don't really have anything scheduled right now. I'm in the midst of looking for new stuff, but as soon as I know, man, I'll post it. I'm actually itching to get back in there. And Lorenzo was just talking to me earlier. He was like, man, when you get back in there? I'm like, yeah, soon. I just got to take her some stuff first, and I'm good to go.
All right. Thanks a lot for your time.